Hi
Hello.
everybody and hi Sohini.
Hi, Anthony.
Happy to be here today. How are you? First, how
I'm
are you?
good. I'm great.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, great too. I'm happy to be back because I
Yep.
was in PTO last week, so I
Yep.
spent good time. But I'm happy to be here now and to continue our series and
Yep.
so our lives today.
Well, that is
So
something I discussed about last week. That is something I shared with people that, okay, this week Anthony is not here. So we're putting a pause to our series. But
yeah.
again, we're going to be back next week. And we're also going to bring in interesting and exciting things together for the upcoming weeks, too. So, welcome back to our show. And if you're here, if you're watching us live right now, do drop us a hi the chats below, and we'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, and one more thing is for today, this is the first time we are live on Instagram. So you can
Oh, wow,
find us
wow.
on Nintendo. I don't know. Well, to be honest, I'm not very comfortable with Instagram. This is not something
Yeah,
I'm using so much. But if you want
same.
to join us on Instagram, we all are also here now. So
Yep.
that is very interesting, and you can join us on Nintendo Inc. account
Uh,
on Instagram.
on
So you can,
Instagram.
yeah, you can join live also there.
Well, I guess Instagram's interesting when you're traveling or maybe you're in a car, you're outside, so you can just open it up on a click and you can watch us. Of
Yeah,
course, it's a bit difficult to see the code in there, but you can see us for sure. So yeah.
yeah. But today, I'm just spoil is today we will not show any code, but we will talk about best practices to work as a consumer.
Consumer. Yep.
Yeah. So we did that previously for the creator, the curator, the composer, and of course, we are finishing the Forces series with the consumer. So we've prepared some slide to explain a few things, so we can
Hmm.
start by doing that and then dive into the details quickly. I'm not sure we will have a lot of things to say about consumer because probably is yeah. Anyway, I think there is a lot of things to say. That is interesting,
But
but
one
less
thing that
technical, I will say.
I'd like to add something here as we speak about a consumer. I think we human beings, every one of us, are normally a consumer in our day to day lives for something or the other. Each one of us is consuming something. Like, forget about
Mm,
composition, forget about Intando, forget about application
yeah,
composition platform. But
definitively.
in general, yeah, we are consuming something or the
Mm,
other. We are a consumer of the electricity we're provided.
mm,
We're a consumer of some service, let's say Wi Fi or something. We're just consuming it. And I think we try to make it better
mm,
by reporting complaints like, hey, this isn't working, take a look at it. So I guess if you are thinking about who a consumer is, you can
mm,
imagine yourself in this track that you are naturally a consumer.
mm.
Uh,
Yeah,
and then we can think about the technical aspect of a
yeah,
consumer.
and even one more things I would say is I think the consumer role has changed for several years now.
Yeah,
We used to have I don't know how to say that in English, but it could be inactive or simple consumer. So you want
mm,
something, you buy it and you use it, and that's all.
right,
And you probably don't have tools or such as social medias or anything else, especially with internet. You don't have all these tools to
mm-hmm,
get or give feedbacks, to be
mm,
active in a community, to be a part of a community. That is a
right,
bit different. And now the consumer roles tends to be a bit different, maybe to be more to have a better or a more important involvement into being consumer, into consume some things. Like if you are, I don't know, let's say for example, I can get an example of uh shirt, t-shirt, or
yeah,
anything you want. When you are a consumer of a specific brand, sometimes you can also be a member of a community.
Mm.
and then you can improve uh, what you are
It's
consuming.
consumption. Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
consumption process by contributing.
contributing, but
To that.
also, yeah, but also contributing. That is a bit different and interesting because you can also um, try to change the way the brand or the company is making things. Let's say, for
Mm.
example, if you want things to be more eco-friendly, if you
Mm.
want things to be more inclusive, if you want things to be more, I don't know, powerful, or yeah, I'll make some different decisions. And
Mm.
that is very interesting because from that we can do the parallel with what a consumer is.
Mm.
And I mean, in a composition organization, using modular applications. And this is
Right.
why this is very interesting. You're right. Is not about only using something. I'm not a user. I'm a consumer. That is a
Mm.
bit very
Right. Right. I agree.
different. So okay, I'm just changing. Okay, let's try this overlay. It seems to be great. So just quickly, I would like to start with go back into the different definitions. So I know that if you were there during the three previous lives, you know this slide. I think you know it uh, from the title to all the descriptions. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's important also to ensure that all the people, even new people that are here, understand where we are. So now we
Yes.
are on the right side, totally right side to the
And the
consume part,
last one.
because
Yeah.
yeah, the last one step. The last but not least is we started by defining what is a creator and what is create,
Mm-hmm.
what we want, what we think about creation.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go to create. So let me just explain quickly. So create was about designing, creating,
Mm-hmm.
coding,
Mm-hmm.
developing components and packages, modules we want to share with the rest of the teams or with the rest of with composers, creators, and so on. So then we dive into the curate roles. That is more about managing a hub, a marketplace where you can find all the components available. And that means define policies, apply rules, and do analysis and checks and so on. And then finally, we go to the compose step. I say finally, but finally is the consumer, of course. It's then we go to the compose step. So that is using existing blocks to compose applications. And today we are discovering consuming, so being a consumer that is use the application. But as we can see, it's not only use, it's also monitor, it's also uh, drive the way the application will be, or even own the business, define exactly what we expect from the business or what we expect the application will be for the business, will do for the business. So it's not only about take something, use. It's also uh, drive something in such way. So we are here, consumer, and we want to consume. So then we can dive into the consumer definition.
Yeah, I guess, I already gave you an overview of who a consumer naturally is. Now, thinking of what we've been discussing for so many weeks and thinking of a consumer in terms of application and compositions, 4Cs, um, thinking of it as a role, part of the 4Cs of application composition, who a consumer is. So I guess a consumer or a team of people who are trying to consume the application or applications are kind of responsible for creating and managing users. Their roles and adding, updating, removing, or fixing content within the templates that are provided to them. And they're also responsible for editing and managing processes, along with analyzing the performance, and everything, because when you build something, it isn't something that is going to sustain for 20 or 30 years. You need to keep updating certain things, you need to keep adding or boosting up certain things, certain versions of the application, or lots of things. So that is called analyzing performance. If anything isn't working right, then someone needs to make sure that it is boosted up, it is taken care of, and it is made right. So that is something the consumption team or a consumer should take care of ideally. And of course, yeah, so these are the things a consumer does. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the funny thing is, I think the consumer is uh, definitively a business people. So somebody that
Hmm.
own and understand the business, that is
Right.
probably too much technicals, but in
Yeah.
some way, he
Hmm.
need to be a bit technical to understand what technicals means or what tech people need, what are the different requirements
Hmm.
for making an application, or let's say for develop a feature or something like this. So that is very there is a big technical involvement, but
Mm.
if I can say that, is by being a consumer. It's not only try to explain people why we are doing this business, is also
Mm.
try to understand what they need to ensure that the business
Mm.
will be solved, or the issue will be solved at least. So
You're right.
anyway, he thinks is that is quite interesting, because there is multiple way to define a consumer, or at least there is multiple properties we are rating for a consumer.
Mm.
So if from that, oh, I will probably change the way we are rendering. So I want people to be able to see all the text. But from that, oh, I think you want to start probably saying,
Yeah, I
yeah,
will speak about identity management. So I guess there has to be a way we are taking care of identity management. And in this, let's say we've got 10 people, 10 consumers, we shouldn't give them one particular account that is going to let all of them be part of. So each one of them should be unique. Each of those accounts should be identical in terms of security, so that there is no uh, you know, kind of a hodgepodge. I don't know if you understand hodgepodge, but it's kind of something which means there's kind of mixing up. So, just to be clear, in terms of security, you should make sure that each consumer has different identity management accounts that takes care of their roles, that takes care of their permissions, and stuff that they can do and they cannot do. There are different kinds of permissions normally we give to roles. Maybe you have right to update, you have right to access, or you just have right to do anything and everything. So those are roles. So those things must be defined in each and every unique account, instead of just having one account being used by multiple people. So that is what I mean when I say identity management needs to be taken care of. Would you like to add anything in here, Anthony?
no, no, especially not something. You say everything, so I think it's interesting there. So then we can move to this second point, that is work on performances, and on performance, excuse me. And um, the funny things is, I'm pretty sure that most of people don't expect a consumer to take care about performance. Like,
Mm.
okay, so it's this is what I was saying before. It's like, yeah, but uh, we have technical guys that can do that. So I don't want to. This is not my business, you know. This is I want it to make it work as expected, and so I don't want to
Mm.
dive into more technical things. But probably this is not a good option. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, a business and a consumer and business people that, well, a consumer should be able to understand also these performance things, or
Mm.
and even if it will not directly change the option. So we say, so for example, at Nintendo we have the operator that automatically deploy things on Kubernetes, for you when you install new things. So basically, when you install a new modules, a new bundle that contains components,
Mm-hmm.
for some reason, let's say for example, you have a microservice, you want to create some resources for it in Kubernetes, and the operator will do the job for you. So the thing is, you can change, you can tune the operator, you can make some modification to ensure that the resources that will be created um, will match with your performance requirements. So that
Mm-hmm.
means there is some technical things, but also the business is has a really big impact on or
Mm-hmm.
you can define it. So I don't know if a consumer will directly change the operator settings, but
Mm-hmm.
if you don't, you need to understand why we need to change that, or we need to change that, and in what is way. So for example, let's say I'm owning what is the name in English? E-sales,
E-commerce.
e-commerce. Oh yeah,
E-commerce.
e-commerce is okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so we have the same word in France.
Yeah.
In French, let's say you have a e-commerce website.
Website. Yeah.
Uh, you know that for some reason, sometimes you need to. People will buy your things, during the morning or during
Mm,
noon or during night. It depends on exactly what you are selling. But you probably have during the same days,
mm,
during the same day, during the day, you probably have some moment where you have a lot of people and then you are less people. And so we
mm,
need to tune the performance from that. And you need, from business point of view, explain that technically, like, yeah, because I don't know, during noon people have
mm,
time because they are lunching, they take some pause, and they
mm,
want, this is the when they are buying these casual things.
mm,
And so this is why we need to be more reactive during
mm.
this period, and to ensure that we have the great the good configuration for having the better performances. So
Right.
performances, this
Mm,
is why,
mm.
this is the kind of things we can expect. So probably not say, okay, I will change. Give me the mouse. I will do it. Like,
Yeah.
give me it. Like, no,
Right.
no, no, please. No, it's I probably could be. I'm not saying that this is not
Mm,
something we can imagine. This is something we can imagine. But the thing
mm,
is, this is not probably not mandatory. But what is
mm,
very important is not about doing or changing the settings by
mm,
ourselves as a consumer, but at least be able to
mm,
explain people why we need to do that, and maybe something more. Yeah, and
mm,
yeah, maybe also work with them to ensure that
mm.
we are doing things right. So that can include clustering, enterprise loggings, and so on. So yeah, that, by the way, we have new configuration options, tutorials available for the 7.0, because we have just launched the Antenna 7.0. We don't talk about that, by the way, but that is very exciting
Mm.
news. So a new major version of Antenna is available. And please,
Yep.
Saini, let me just take 2 or 3 minutes to thanks all the technical team, business
Awesome
people, all the people at
engineers.
it,
Yep.
yeah, engineers, and even business people and
Mm-hmm.
marketing people and HR. Anyway, anybody in the company that work in this way to make it happen. So that is very interesting, and that means, we have a lot of new topics to cover
Yep.
dedicated to the 7.0. That means we will have a new, mm, in the next couple of weeks, we will
And
have exciting things.
I
Mm.
guess I've written a blog too to mention
Yeah,
a little bit about it, a little bit of sneak peek, a little bit of information on what is in there, what isn't, and what we have done. So you can take a look at it. This is the link. Do take
yeah,
a look at it, and if you really do like it, do hit some hearts and unicorns and do comment your ideas,
of
suggestions,
course,
thoughts, and
for sure.
expressions over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So Anyway, we are not talking about this specific version because we have a lot of things to do. I mean, we have a lot of things to cover about that. So I guess we will cover it in the next couple of weeks, as I said.
Yeah.
By the way, if you want something specific, or if you want to know something
Mm-hmm.
uh, really specific to the 7.0, please tell us so we can imagine creating something from what you need, because you are a
Mm.
consumer also. So that means you can
Yeah.
have some, you can make some choices there. So yeah,
Right.
all the things is saying that, but that is interesting. Yeah. Then the third point is about monitorings or enable monitoring tools and
Mm-hmm.
business activity monitoring. Is, this is something that it's quite interesting, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of consumers want to do that, want to have that this capability to uh, yeah, check by the horn if what, or let's say if the application is used. Yeah, it could
Mm.
be the first things, but also what are the features that are the most used and when. So as I said,
Mm.
for example, during noon, it could be, let's say, for another any other application, but when those people are using the application, or when those
Mm.
people are using a specific feature. So for example, you can have some feature that has most used during the morning, and another one during noon, and
Mm-hmm.
probably sometime during the afternoon or during
Midnight.
the night.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And one more thing is also about, does my feature is used? Because
Hmm.
sometimes you have a great idea and you are sure that, yeah, this is what we need to do, we need to do that because this is what people expect, and then you launch the feature and nobody use it. So maybe
Right.
because your feature is not exactly what people are expecting, this is could be a reason. Or maybe because you didn't make enough advertisement ad
Advertisement. Yeah,
advertisement.
that's right.
Yeah, Soini is my English teacher sometimes.
Oh, that happens.
but but yeah, you don't talk about that enough to
Mm.
your users, or
Mm.
it could be another any other explanation about that. But it, it's your job to try to understand why a feature is not working. But
Yes.
the business activity monitoring will help you
Mm.
um, to know,
Understand that.
yeah, and maybe to understand which one is the most used, or if you have unused
Mm.
features, or if you have some issue with I don't know, with performances. So it's linked to the
It,
previous part.
and I
So
think the
so
best part is you can use it for tracking, for recording every day's
mm,
performance. So it's like you can have a look at it from zero to ongoing, and you can see how it's
mm,
working for a daily basis. So it's
yeah.
very useful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like also, well, to check for the bottlenecks also. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, maybe there are some points in the
Mm.
application, there's some part of the application we need to improve. And also it can help you to define a plan for next releases. Let's say, okay, I wanted to improve that, but finally we can see that from the business activity monitoring that we have a bottleneck here, and this is more important to fix that than release a new feature. So for example, so anyway, but yeah, let's say there's some examples with using Prometheus or Google Analytics.
Mm-hmm.
So a good example is if you are using JHipster to generate your applications, I mean your components, and use them. Let's say an example with a microservice, and use them to compose your application. You should know that you can automatically ask the application or configure the application to export it the metrics to a given Prometheus instance, a Prometheus server. So that means, let's say, even if you have dozen of
Mm.
microservices that are running, all
Mm.
these microservices are connecting to the same Prometheus instance, and pushing all the metrics. And then what you need is to access to the Prometheus UI
Mm.
to read and search and access to all this data. So
Mm.
uh, you are not limited by the fact that we have a distributed architecture. You don't need to
Mm.
access all these microservices one by one. What you need is to use the
Mm.
great tools such as Prometheus, that is open source, by the way,
Mm.
or even
Yes, that is one great news. It is
mm,
open source.
yeah.
Yeah.
And one more thing is, for example, using Google Analytics, that is a bit
Mm.
different because it's something sold by the Google company, but you can also access it to, So, for example, one thing that is very interesting we use with Chapster is, I did that during a talk, is before talk, is try to figure out from which country, excuse me, uh,
Mm.
people access to the uh, Chapster website. So I use that. I use Google Analytics for that. So we have a Google
Mhm.
Analytics account, and then I wanted to know. Okay, so I would like to know where people are come from. And funny things is, for example, a lot of people were coming from India. So I can tell you, saying is, oh, I think India is probably the second or the third country where people are
Mm.
most. We have the most viewers, most users from the Egyptian website, and that
Mhm.
is it's the quite is the this is the kind of data you want to know because okay, I was not aware about that. I know
Mm.
nobody from India that is contributing. Let's say, for example, I'm not saying that is true, but I mean, India is true, by the way. But
Mhm.
it's like you can say, oh, I don't know people from this dedicated country
Mhm.
was accessing to our website. So that
Mm.
means maybe we need to invest some advertising, or we need
Yeah,
to
more.
invest, well, we need
Yeah.
to connect to these local people because that means
Mm.
probably they are
They're
interested.
interested. Yeah.
So this is why also activity monitoring is could be very interesting to improve your
Mhm.
business.
Yes, well, along with that, I think it's also important that when you're doing so many things, you also have a space for accessibility. So there should
Mm,
be a space where people can report certain things. So just for your customers to interact with you in a smoother way, you should provide a support platform. It could be a ticketing system where they can create tickets. It could be using customer portal. This is just well. You can also have like live chat options, or you can maybe have a form where people can drop in their support that they need, their request, and then it can reach directly to you, and you can take it from there further. Because I think with everything that's happening, and when you're trying to implement or bring in new things in a new place, there should be a space where people can reach out to you, where your customers can
mm,
interact with you. Because
yeah.
you can do lots of things together unless there is the right space for communication. You never get to know what's happening on the other side of
Mm,
your universe. You're just creating stuff, but feedback is very important. So I think that is something that needs to be taken care of. So do not forget, easing up your accessibility for people, for customers, because that is very important.
yeah, and another point is, uh, what was it? Yeah, I think if you have this kind of portal and you
Mm-hmm.
can make more feedback easily, you can. It's for you as a consumer, but you need to think about that it could improve your user experience. Let's say I would say that I'm a consumer, and sometimes I have some questions. So
Mm-hmm.
the yeah, and I can explain that I did it yesterday. So I was on Facebook
Mm-hmm.
and I saw a video that was interesting me from a known brand, shoes brand that I know, and I wanted to know where they will be able to have this kind of these specific shoes. So I send them a message, and they answer me 5 minutes after, like, okay, we know that we don't have it on stock, so we want anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the explanation is I get this feedback.
Mm. Feedback,
And
yeah.
so you as a consumer, let's say you, because you are the consumer, you have on your own application, you uh, have the information that people are looking for something. And
Mm.
also my user experience has been great because,
Mm.
oh, okay, so I ask a question and then answer me. So that means now I just need to wait. I don't need to look for everywhere if I
Mm.
can find this dedicated product, or let's say
Mm.
complete a feature of,
Mm.
and I have an idea where it will be available.
Mm.
So
Right.
my user experience is better, and the consumer's experience has been better because he now knows that people are looking for something in this dedicated country. So
Mm.
this is also a kind of example why we need, it's like win-win, anyway. We have several things to cover then, and probably this is the part I'm the more exciting about, because um, from my own experience, and I must admit that I had a really great experience in the past, working on project where consumers were very involved in the project and in
Mm.
the project. I mean, also in the project processes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this has not been true every time. So I mean, sometimes I work on project where people were very
Mm-hmm.
involved, and sometimes not.
Okay.
But when it happened, I just admit that my developer experience was, whoa, 10
Mm.
more appreciable. So very
Mm.
interesting, and a lot of motivation. And yeah, so one things I learned is, if you want people to develop uh, components that will fit, that will work with your business, you
Mm-hmm.
need to ensure that they understand your business.
Wow.
And
That's a great point.
the,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's like, oh, it's like, I'm saying
Yeah.
that, like, yeah, and people will say, but yes, but you are not saying something new. Yeah, but most of the time, I'm pretty sure that people that are working, I mean, developers, don't really understand for why they are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And even sometimes, the business is not something simple. If you are working for a bank, insurance, if you are working for, I don't know, something. Yeah, my example is, I was, and even we were developing applications to manage taxes. So to help
Mm-hmm.
people to collect data, to do some taxes declaration to the government. So we're not talking about something very simple, but if you about millions, billions of
Mm-hmm.
euros. So if you miss something, it could cost a lot of money. So that means we want to ensure that we will help people to make it easily, but as a
Easier.
developer,
Yeah.
easier
Mm-hmm.
is, as a
Mm-hmm.
developer, what I wanted to do and to understand is to ensure that, okay, but why, for example, what do we
Mm.
need to have this information
Mm.
to do this taxi
Mm.
stuff, or to
Mm.
to do this administrative stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, business people that were there organized a few
Mm.
workshops,
Mm-hmm.
meetings, talks,
Mm.
let's say at least 1 or 2 per weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, let's say, for 1 hour, 2 hours, and then they explain everything. Like,
Mm.
uh, it's like a course. It's like,
Mm.
okay, so first, let's say, what is tax? Why
Mm.
do we need? What do we pay tax? What we need to collect this data to pay the tax? So
Mm-hmm.
because we pay a tax on something. So because
Mm.
we need to pay it, we have to pay this tax. We need to declare what we own. So then we need to
Mm.
collect, and so on. So, and you have a lot
Mm-hmm.
of details inside that. This is not something simple. It's not about just putting some numbers in on a paper. It's not like
Mm.
this. There is a real business and
Mm.
real things behind that. And as a developer, you need to understand that, because you will
Mm.
be more mm, um, involved, but also will be, you will,
Benefited.
yeah, you will
Yeah.
understand things better
Yeah.
if you understand why the user need
Mm.
that.
Mm.
And that is,
There's more clarity in our
yeah,
work.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. This is why I
Because
think,
whatever we are doing, we're doing for the users, right? So if
yeah, it's,
we
mm,
understand them, their
yeah,
thoughts, their needs, their requirements, then we will do
exactly.
much better
Yeah,
for them.
exactly. And so our work is not only something about technical things. It's not about,
Right.
not on not only anymore, just
Mm.
yeah, cut that. I
Mm.
want, please cut. And so we will discuss that in
Mm.
3 or 2 months when you will finish that. No, it's not about that. It's about um
The whole
understand
process, yeah.
and all the process, yeah. and
Mm.
and of course, the user and the client
Mm.
point of view, understand all these things. So that's why I think the C, I mean the consumer should educate the other C
Mm-hmm.
about the domain of expertise. And
Yes.
so take time to do that, because especially because we are talking about uh, modularity. So people will work on specific things, on specific business path. So they need to mm, handle everything from this business side.
Mm-hmm.
Another good point, and it's probably the same, it's very close. I mean, it's the same notion. It's
Mm-hmm.
define a team dictionary. What I'm calling a team dictionary
Mm-hmm.
is, I'm pretty sure that, well, even if we are not, because we are not English, we are not both English native. I mean, Soini and me. So it's not probably the best example, but let's say we have another French native people on the same team. I can use the same word, but not with the same meaning. And
Mm.
all these words are business words. If- This is the case, by the way, with modularity. Sometimes we are talking about components, we are talking modules, we are talking about bundles. But I want to be sure that Sony and I are
Mm-hmm.
using the right word for the right thing. And when you are talking about making application, that is very important to ensure that people are using the same terminology. And even technical wording, it could be also applied to technical wording, by the way. But
Mm-hmm.
as a business, as a consumer point of view, you need to help people to build this dictionary to ensure that, okay, when I'm saying bundles, people know that a bundle is exactly that, not that, not that, these things, especially this one. And so we will avoid to have misunderstanding, to have, or let's say, it could be the case, sometimes you are building something and you think that, oh yeah, I'm very happy, this component
Yeah.
is really great, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's looking good, and yeah, let's do the demonstration. And finally the consumer will say, oh no, I'm not, it's not really okay, because it should be that, and then it should be that,
Mm-hmm.
and this word is not correct. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because you need to understand everything, there is maybe some part of misunderstanding.
Mm-hmm.
So to avoid that, and when I'm saying define a team dictionary, see, I mean creating
Guidelines.
yeah, guidelines, but also a real uh, a source of truth. So it could
Mm.
be a website or a
Mm-hmm.
shared document where all the people will put word with definitions, real
Mm.
things. We're not talking about something, it's not only about an ID. It's not just an
Mm.
ID. It's something real,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps a lot. I'm pretty sure. And the last part is ensure to be involved in all the application building processes. Is what's from my
It's
own
important to
experience.
be connected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is why, yeah, we didn't talk about where I put that, by the way, in this gun point is about fusion team. But
Mm.
all these things will make sense by using a fusion team. Is
Mm.
But let's starting by this point is uh, be physically close to each other, help to be close to all the concerns. So I'm pretty sure that if I have a question and I have somebody close to me, when I'm saying close is it could be physically close, but I know
Mm.
that nowadays it's
Virtual
sometimes a bit
world.
yeah, we are.
Yeah.
So maybe you can also define process to help people to be close to each other and using, I don't know,
Mm.
tools, meetings, or anyway, but ensure that if you are close to each other,
Mm.
people will be more, uh, how can I say that? Will more easily
Mm.
contact you if they have questions. And I know that
It
because
creates space for other people to put in their talk, their
mm,
expression. It creates a good space, a good relationship.
yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about hierarchy things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If we need to think about that as this is why a fusion team is very interesting is
Mm-hmm.
we are all in French we say we are all in the same basket.
Mm-hmm.
So we are all here for the same things, working on the same topics, and what
Hmm.
we all want is to succeed.
Right.
So let's try to being emphatic also. That is
Yeah.
very important. And it could be, let's say, as a consumer, I want to understand what the technical part is, why
Mm.
the technical team is doing, and why they need to do that. Even if sometimes I don't understand everything, but that is not very important. You don't need to understand everything, but you need to have a good
Be
overview
curious too.
and be
Yeah.
curious. Yeah. And it's also about if I understand why my team or what are the concern of this technical team, I
Mm.
can also understand, or I can help them if they
Mm-hmm.
are struggling in some way, or if we need to do some, to prioritize things. So
Mm.
I know sometimes that's, and yeah, one more thing is this is why I lived in the process I told in the project I was talking about a few minutes before is these business people that were here with us 3 days per week and
Mm-hmm.
were organized workshops and everything, they also take time to understand technically what happens when we create applications. So they learn also things, but it was not about only being curious. It was also
Mm.
about oh, I can help my team by
Succeed.
understanding
Mm.
what they are doing. And if
Mm.
I understand that, I can also, um, change some of my priority or
Mm.
trying to find or make decision that will help them to be more successful and so on. So that is very important, and it will be the last point of this live is uh, being emphatic to the technical part as a consumer is very important. And of course, that also means that the technical part, the technical team, should do the same for the business things.
Mm.
But I think we already talked about that, a few
Mm.
uh, weeks ago when we were talking about creators.
Yeah.
But finally, definitively, uh, this is something that is very important. Is
In
um,
all the four C's, I guess, empathy.
yeah, and
It's
this
very
is
important.
why
Mm-hmm.
even if we do presentation in live by one, I
Mm.
think all these things make sense if we are talking about uh, them as a fusion team.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
basically, a team where you can find everybody working on the same things, trying to solve the same business issue driven by the business. Let's say if
Mm-hmm.
the business is good, that means we are doing great things and we need to continue on that. And
Mm.
so, uh, with that, I think the success is in the corner.
Yep. Perfect, perfect. So I guess, oh my God, I can't believe that we are totally done with the four C's
Yeah.
best practices series. It's like 4 hours divided into four
Yeah.
parts, but it was interesting, of course. I think I personally have learned a lot because even I had questions, and Anthony has helped me learn a lot with the best practices, with all the four C's. And I guess you have got some great understanding of the four C's too, along with application composition and how 4Cs are important for application composition. But just in case you have any questions that you'd like
Mm.
us to answer you with, you can reach out to us either on Twitter. So I guess Anthony shared our Twitter handles already. Also, you
Yeah,
can
yeah, I
reach
can.
out. Yeah, those are our Twitter handles, and you can also reach out to us on Discord. So we are building the modular squad community in there,
Mm.
and we kind of try to interact with each one of you in there, help you out, and we're trying to build composable applications with you all too. We're trying to make it bigger, larger, but it's impossible without you, your support, your contribution. So do jump into our Discord server and do drop in your questions, your ideas, your thoughts, your comments, and we'll be there to answer you.
Perfect. That's pretty
Perfect.
great. I just want to drop the link to the Discord
Yeah.
server. So let me just find it. And then
Yeah.
that's it.
I
Here we go.
guess.
So you can click here and join us on
Join us
Discord.
soon. Yep.
And also, as you said, on Twitter and on YouTube, you can subscribe on our YouTube channel. So it's a good way to support us. And yeah, we also have the Dev 2, where we share all the articles. So there is a lot of
Thoughts. Yep.
incoming articles that are very exciting. So I know we have
A
an
huge
important,
bunch of it.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, we have a bunch of good things.
Yeah.
If you want to be a consumer of the
Mm-hmm.
community, you can also drive us or help us driving that by suggesting some topics also. So feel free to contact us. We will be very happy to discuss and to talk about that with you.
Absolutely. Well, that's all for today, and we're gonna come back again soon, either individually or together. It's gonna be a mix always, and we're gonna come up with something cool that you're gonna love. Till now and then, have fun, keep coding, be composable, think composable, and build composable applications. So, yeah, bye.
Perfect. Thank you. Bye bye.